I call this July 21st, 2025 meeting of the Newberry County Board of Trustees to order. We have a quorum present this evening. Ms. Berger is actually on vacation out of the country right now, so we miss her, but we know where she is. Do we have any amendments to our agenda? Okay. All right, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, do I have a motion to move into executive session to discuss employment recommendations and updates, hiring and separations, contractual considerations, Reuben Elementary School?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We'll be back. We return to open session. Ms. Tempton, would you lead us in an invocation, please?
Our dear Father in heaven, we're very grateful for the opportunity to attend this school board meeting tonight. We're especially thankful for all those that serve our children in this district, both paid and unpaid, especially for our volunteers. We are asking thy help as we begin a new school year, that we will use wisdom in all things and be prudent with school funds, to utilize them to the capacity that we've been given to best serve our children and ensure they get the education they need and deserve. We ask thee to please bless those who have sickness or sadness in their families throughout this district, that thy spirit would be with them for comfort. And we thank thee for all things, and we pray these things humbly in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen.
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'd like to welcome all of you that are here this evening, and we apologize for being a little late coming out of executive session, and we welcome our media that's watching us online. All right, is there any action from executive session?
Madam Chair, I would move that we accept the administration's recommendations for hiring.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Anderson, it is the administration's recommendation that we move into a contract with EdCon Incorporated for sidewalk and awning improvements at Reuben Elementary and at our community school for a total price of $396,000.
I so move to accept that recommendation.
Do we have any discussion?
What would be the completion date?
We're working on that now.
All right, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, and we don't have anyone signed up for public forum this evening. And without objection, the June 23rd, 2025 board meeting minutes, the June 26th, 2025 special call board meeting minutes, the June 30th, 2025 special call board meeting minutes, and the July 9th, 2025 special call board meeting minutes will be approved. And Ms. Lake, I believe you said you did not have.
No legislative update, but the one comment that I'll make for those who haven't gotten anything in their email is the State Department of Education has noted on the federal funds that does not affect this year's 25-26. That everything that they're putting out right now would be towards the 26-27, and the school district will give you any updates on that as it comes along.
And now we move to our action items. Dr. Jenkins.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, and interim superintendent, Dr. Anderson. This evening we have 3 policies for a second read. The first policy is policy AC, non-discrimination and equal opportunity. And the change that was last made was just an update with my email address. Does anyone have any questions or?
When your name goes into the policy, does that necessitate a mandated tenure of like 10 years or something like that?
We will see.
Do I have a motion to accept policy AC for?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The second policy is policy BEDH, public participation in meetings. And that policy just added the political viewpoints and cleared up the time that participants have. Any
Move
questions?
to accept for second reading, Madam Chair.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Dr. Jenkins, could you just kind of talk us through how a person in the community might go through the process of signing up? I know it's online, is that right?
Yes, it is. They would just need to go to the Newberry K-12 website, and there's what we call kind of a little hamburger there that says menu. And when they strike on that drop-down menu, they're gonna come to a page that says board members and meetings, and from there they click, and then from there, they're simply going to do the public participation link. Once they click on that link, the BEDH form will come up and they fill out that form. If they choose to put in an email, they will get just a copy of the form as they've completed.
So it can be emailed in, or?
No, sir.
Print
Once
it
once they complete the form to submit it, if they put their email address in, they're just receiving a copy of the form that they submitted, that's all.
All right, all those in favor of second?
All right.
All right, and the last policy to be reviewed is KJI, which is Relations with Senior Citizens and Retirees.
Move to accept.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Anderson?
All right, thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. We have spent quite some time exploring budgetary expenses that have been removed, and we have identified means that will allow us to provide a step increase for our district office administrators, a step increase for our school administrators, and a 2% increase to the current athletic coaching supplement. Fortunately, I do believe that our 2025-26 budget allows us the opportunity to do so. Therefore, I would like to recommend that we provide a step increase to our district office administrators and school administrators, as well as a 2% supplement to our athletic coaches.
Do I have a motion to accept Dr. Anderson's recommendation?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Yes, ma'am. I particularly wanted to address the principals, the administrators, the teachers, and the taxpayers in Newberry County, and tell you this budget has been tough. And a lot of people told me that it's hard for us to follow when we don't have a copy and y'all are spouting numbers out left and right. And a couple of board members said that they didn't understand exactly what we were voting for. But I think I could tell you this whole board would like to pay everybody here what they're worth, but we couldn't possibly do that. But we certainly want to take care of everybody. So here's just where we started. We had our first reading back in May, and the administration presented us a $1.3 million budget in the red. And we just thought that was too much, and we asked them to go back and do what they could. And so they came back in and they recommended the cuts for the public hearing on June the 9th. And on June the 9th, we came up with a $649,000 deficit, still on the second reading of the, on the public hearing of the budget. And we wrestled with what to do with that. As far as the teachers, all of that is mandated by the state. We have to go in and do each cell and they get taken care of. But everything else is up for the district to match. And so we all have a lot of heartburn about it, but we came back out with a second reading of a budget where the deficit was still, right now today, $527,825. And what we found out over the last 3 years, we got really used to leaning on ESSER funding. We were able to use it in a number of ways. And so I think it's been on everybody's heart when it was brought to our mind that we skipped over some steps to do the right thing. Financially, it's hard to do, but this is a personal business and not just a financial business. So we're going to accept Dr. Anderson's recommendation tonight, and it goes with our heartfelt thanks to each administrator, because we appreciate more than we ever tell you how much you do. For me, I believe the teachers and the principals at the building level are where all this takes place. The rubber meets the road. And so, as much as we can, we want to do all we can for y'all.
And to Mr. Bledsoe's point, we approved the budget $550-ish thousand in the hole as a deficit. This recommendation will not dig that hole any deeper, correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
I'm gonna add to Mr. Bledsoe, to the principals that we have here. We do depend on you, what you do in the brick and mortar. And I think most of you know, I'm big supporters of the people in the brick and mortar. And so with Dr. Anderson's help, and the rest of the board being able to accept this, you know, the other thing is everybody has to know, especially because we don't know what we're going to be getting from the state next year. We don't know what we're going to be getting from reassessment, and we don't know if a lot of the Title I money is going to go away. And if it doesn't, that's going to put us all in a crunch. So, you know, hopefully we'll be in a better position next year, but if we're not, and if we're not able to, you know, then we also want you to understand that that has nothing to do with what we feel about y'all and the job that you're doing.
And I think everybody on the board would,
All of us concur with
everybody
that.
understand, many times budget decisions are just that. We're looking at the dollars coming in and all the dollars that have to come out and trying to be physically responsible for our district and our county. And Mr. Bledsoe's brought to our attention, it's a district in North Carolina that's actually closing schools because they've run out of money and they can't afford to run what they've got. And it's like, oh my goodness, how horrible is that? So many budget decisions are not based on how we value employees. You know, like Ms. Bledsoe said, we would love to give everybody lots of raises, but anyway, thank you very much for what you do. And couldn't do it without them. So we're all very glad that Dr. Anderson has been able to find a way. So, all right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. All right, and now, Mr. Hayden.
Hello, members of the board and Dr. Anderson. I have the Minority Business Enterprise Utilization Plan for 25-26. The South Carolina Consolidated Procurement Code and Section 5240 of our district's procurement code require that the district submit this plan for the board's approval. The plan has not changed from the previous year. And I could read this whole plan. Okay. I didn't think I needed to, but if we got to kill some time, I can do that.
Just for clarification, our minority business list comes from the Certified Minority Business.
Yes,
by the
and
state.
yeah, so they have to register as a minority with the Division of Procurement Services.
Right.
And so if they're not registered, they could be minority owned, but if they're not registered as such, then they aren't.
Yep.
Well, yeah, that takes care of the question I was gonna ask. Thank you.
And this is an action item, so do we have a motion to approve?
I so move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to turn it over to Daniel Haven, who will be doing the cash flow now. All right, so for the month of June, we started the month with, as you can see from the cash flow statement, we started the month with $30.3 million in our county treasurer's fund. And we're after deposits of around $5.9 million and credits of $6.8 million. We end the month of June with a $29.5 million balance. And also note, there's a little typo on this sheet. Accrual transactions made subsequent to June 30th for the 24-25 are not reflected in these totals. We are currently running account accrual AP runs and accrual payroll runs that we're hoping to finish up this month that will be going against our June 30th year. So, and on the next page, you'll see how we broke down our treasurer's balance by fund. So we end the month in June, in our general fund is 21.1 million. Our federal projects at 3.5 million. Our EIA funds at 4.2 million. And our other restricted grants at 550,000 to get back to that $29.5 million number. All right, moving on to the cash flow by fund for our technology construction funds. In June, we had, typo here too, there's $214,823.43 of payments for the month of June. And that's made up of AV equipment installation, HVAC units, and then tech warranties for our computer rollover. All right, and looking at your budget report by function, our revenue's coming on pretty much on budget. We did get a 13-month payment from the state. That's not reflected in these totals. It was only $150,000, but we're pretty much on budget for revenue for 24-25. And then if you look at our expenditures by function, right now at year-to-date expenditure, we're at 71.6 million, but we still are running AP accruals and payroll accruals. That will make that total go up.
Do the encumbrances take care of that or not necessarily?
So, yeah, there's some of these encumbrances need to be released. Not all these encumbrances on this report are being spent. I've actually thought some of them were released and checked with my accountant, and this is the first year we've done electronic POs, so they weren't quite released, so that encumbrance number isn't correct. It's not quite that much. Because some of it is just stuff that we didn't get in before June 30th, so it will be coming out this year.
So it kind of concerns me because this is the end of the year, so I'm going to take just a minute. If you go back to the revenue side and you look under delinquent taxes, we're about $66,000 short on what we budgeted. And of course, the problem for me is that we use that for a baseline for this year. Do you think any more will come in that will be posted for this fiscal year?
No, I was looking back at previous years, and I don't think anything has. I think delinquent taxes, and I haven't been through this yet, but they're kind of hard to budget for because you don't know what you're going to get delinquent. So it is kind of just a number, and I think Susan just went off previous, trends to get that number.
I agree 100%. I'd like to budget lower and come in higher.
Yeah.
Well, I also noticed revenue in lieu of taxes missed about 58,000, day school 9,000, but then our interest on investments about 200,000.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the worst things for me, all that turns out about 333, but down there under receipt of insurance proceeds.
Yeah, that was from Newberry Elementary. We had a fire alarm panel. What happened? Lightning hit it? Got struck by lightning. So the insurance covered that, and we had to replace it. So there's actual expenditures in the expenditure line that were on budgeted for that kind of eat away that number.
Tell me that one more time. That 567 is going to not really add that much to revenue.
No, sir.
It was used specifically for the fire
Yes, sir.
alarm system.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we missed revenue by $472,000, somewhere in that. It looks like expenditures are going to run over.
Well, if you look at the bottom, we only missed revenue by 88,000. You look at the very bottom.
But when you use that, it includes that 561.
Yeah, it does. Okay, yes.
That's what kind of stuff.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get a grasp for it. We used to have a little fund balance this year. I think it's going to be impossible.
Yeah, we're not going to be adding fund balance this year.
Okay. I appreciate what you're doing. I just like to keep up.
Yeah.
All right.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you.
You got some more?
Yeah, he does.
You gonna do the other reports?
Oh.
That's what I'm like, wait a minute, where's he going?
I was waiting for the other Daniel Hayden to come up to do that. All right, so for our staff reports, we have our emergency procurements and sole procurements. So emergency procurements for the year, FY25 year, we have $60,000, $673. And with emergency procurements, that's only when there's immediate threat to public health, welfare, and safety. So that's kind of spelled out when we can utilize the emergency procurements. And then for sole source procurements, it has to be determined in writing that there's only one source for the required supply. And for the year FY25, we had $353,000 of expenditures with that. And then for our minority business enterprise procurements, I think this was presented on at the January meeting, but this is January through June 2025. If you go, we have had 42 purchases by minorities in the amount, minority businesses in the amount of $145,000. And it just shows our total breakdown of school district expenditures in that time of $5.8 million, which that's about a 3% minority purchase percentage. And then, like I mentioned earlier, minority business, they have to be registered with the State Division of Procurement Services to be a minority business.
So under sole source, do we have to pay open court monthly? Is that like a subscription for that career? I just noticed one month it was $12,000, one month it was $3,000.
You know, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure about that. Do you know? I'll check on that.
Okay.
With the open court, that's under elementary, isn't it? Isn't that where we use open court?
Yeah, I think so.
Would you know the answer, Dr. Rose?
Yes, those were the decodables that are part of the open court curriculum that we ordered for our teachers. Our coaches wanted our teachers to have those so that they would not have to make copies. So we ordered those for them.
When you said they were decodable?
Decodables, yes, sir.
What does that mean? I'm really ignorant.
They're little story packets for students to take home
Oh, okay.
to read, yes, sir.
Okay, so that's like a one-time expense for grade
Well,
level?
it could be reoccurring. It could be reoccurring, but most of our schools were able to use Title I funds to purchase those decodables.
Could be recurring monthly?
Not monthly, reoccurring on a year-to-year basis.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Davis.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Rawls.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Anderson, we'll start the night off with a quick summer report on cleaning. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from principals on the amount of work that's been taking place in these schools, getting them ready for the first day of school for students. We've got 2 schools out there that are getting their final touches on. Boundary Street Elementary School, it was a summer school site, and the Boys and Girls Clubs there. They're getting close, aren't they?
Real close.
I think that maybe just the multi-purpose room and cafeteria, maybe that lower hallway. I think we're kind of waiting on Boys and Girls Clubs to kind of move on out of there and then sweep back and take care of that. But in getting that portion of work done, we've been able to shift that crew over to Newberry L, where we've been working on the floors and really not allowed anybody necessarily to get in that building to do anything. So over the weekend, we're able to put the furniture back in the classrooms. And then I've got in a report for that, we'll move into Newberry L. Wow, what a change the summer can make. I would encourage you, if you got an opportunity to ride over and look at the floors. I expected it to look better, but it's better than what I expected. So I've included some pictures of the detailing that went on there with the edges getting sanded. You can kind of see the condition of that floor on that first page as he started making first passes with the drum sander, just how dark that wood had gotten over the years. On the back page, I've got in the top corner there, top left corner, that's an unfinished sanded floor that got back. It's kind of got some neat colors and some neat patterns there, but then on the next picture, you can see the shine and sheen that's in there on the new poly that's been put down on those floors. Made a huge difference in that building. The other side of that is, fellas finishing the floor said, we won't be able to do this again. It's thin. So in 20 years, somebody's got to figure out what they're going to do to that floor. It won't be Ken. But somebody's gonna have to figure out what they're gonna do.
I have a
Yes,
question
ma'am.
with the flooring situation. Like, how are you gonna keep them really nice like that? Are you like tennis balls up under their little chairs or rugs or what are you gonna do?
We're gonna be back urethane it again next summer to bring it back into its present condition. It's just wear and tear of a wood floor.
Okay.
There's not a whole lot we can do to that. It's just the continuous maintenance that we'll have to do on it.
And what about the floors at Gallman Elementary? Are they coming along or?
Gallman lacks maybe just a little bit of waxing. Everything's been stripped. All the classrooms are waxed. All the furniture's back in the rooms. We went over and kind of re-stripped a small area, I think on the green hall. Just didn't come out quite right. So they were working on that today. I think they're gonna finish up waxing this week over there. Just a small amount, wasn't much. I don't think the Gallman principal's here, so, anybody else got anything as far as floor cleaning? Everybody, I think everybody I've talked to has been fairly satisfied with the product that they got, so.
Have the new RFP's been put out?
It is out, yes ma'am. Lots of good questions, lots of good contractors that have showed interest in that. I want to say we had 18 different companies represented at the walkthroughs, which is unheard of. I don't think I've ever bid on anything that had more than maybe 5 or 6 companies come in. 18, y'all, that's huge, all over the region. So I think some of these bigger companies that have a better product are realizing that they can make a little money in our market, and it's really showed some interest in it.
Any more questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Carey?
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, and Dr. Anderson. The first slide you will see is our back to school schedule. Just for our week next week, we kick it off with our new employee orientation on the 29th, and that will be at Newberry High School in the auditorium there. And then on the 30th, all of our teachers return, and that day will be dedicated to school professional development and teacher planning time. Thursday, July 31st is for teacher planning. And we also have some standards workshops and some other meetings happening those days. Friday, August 1st is our big kickoff where we have the convocation that will also be at Newberry High School this year. And that starts at 8 o'clock from 8 to 11:30-ish. And then the rest of that afternoon will be dedicated to teacher planning time. Monday, August 4th and August 5th on Tuesday, those are dedicated teacher work days. So those are solely for teacher work days, no meetings or PD. Now there may be a meeting here or there, just preparing for, first day of school is tomorrow, here's everyone's duty assignments, things of that nature. But for the most part, by and large, those days are held harmless from any other meetings and are purely teacher work days. What questions do you have about the schedule at this time? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, then moving right along to our third grade retention update. So this probably looks very familiar from what you saw in May, and that's because everything except the last slide is the same. But the information, of course, remains the same, just information about Act 144, which is our updated Read to Succeed legislation, and then the good cause exemptions that could keep a student from being retained in the third grade. You can see our data from last year, our percentage of students meeting or exceeding the state target, and then you can see the percentage of students not meeting that standard. And so you can see how we compare to the state, very, very close. And I will have to say, I'm just optimistic. We haven't fully looked at everything this year, but I have a good feeling about how things will look this year once we can release that after the embargo in October. The outlook for our projected students being retained after summer reading camp, as you can see, in the fall, we had 253 students who, of course, could have been retained. That was in the fall when they just came back to school and took the iReady test. So they didn't know all the third grade material yet and hadn't had all of those standards. In winter, that number went down to 184. In the spring, it went down to 140. And then when we did the final look at everything at the end of the year, the final data review, it looked at about 35 students would fall into that category. And then I'm happy to report that after summer reading camp, we had 6 who will be retained in the 3rd grade. So if you look here at this last breakdown, this gives it to you by school. You can see the second to the last column on the right. You can see how many we projected could be retained prior to summer reading camp, and you can see how many were retained. And at least 4 of those 6 students were retained because they did not attend summer reading camp. So we can't help you if you don't come. What questions do you have?
When we get the 253 number back in the fall,
Yes,
are
ma'am.
those students made aware that there's a possibility they could be retained based on their score, or that's not told to them? I was just wondering about that.
That's not told to them because it's generally late August, early September. So a lot should fall in, that's normal.
Yeah,
When we do notify those families is after winter.
okay.
After winter, we
So
say,
it's the same as when I was there. I just, the over-identification, and self-esteem issue.
yes, we don't want
No.
to scare people unnecessarily. There's a fine line though, because we want to know it's important, but.
Sure.
So Dr. Carey, comparing the state to the school district, we got met and does not meet. What about the other 20%?
So that would be approaches. So we've got the does not meet category, and that's who falls into this net that could be retained in the 3rd grade if they score does not meet. Then we have approaches. That means they're getting close. And then meets and exceeds are the final 2 categories. So that gap you see of about 20% is the approaches category. That means they're coming along, but they're not where they need to be yet. Any other questions? Thank you.
What was the total in summer school numbers? You know, right off the top, was it 35 for elementary?
Well, it was 35 who qualified. We invited more than that,
Okay.
but for 3rd grade, there were 35 that, that needed to come if they did not have a good cause exemption. But we did have many more than that who came.
Okay.
Because we had some who fell into that exemption category, Mr. Bledsoe, but it still was very beneficial for them to come. So we didn't want to say to anyone, oh, no, you have a good cause exemption, don't worry about coming. Those principals were like, no, you still need to come on, you need all the help you can get, and that's a good thing. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. And Dr. Anderson.
All right, thank you. Before I actually mention some additional back-to-school dates, I do want to thank everyone, you all, the school board, our district school administrators, faculty and staff that I've met over the summer so far, and talked to one of our students today while I was getting some work done to my car, and we had a nice conversation, a very nice conversation about Newberry, our school district. So, but thank you all for such a warm welcome. Today is day 10 for me, and I want to just pause after my 10th day to say thank you, okay? My wife and my family always tell me that people are nice to you. It's not by accident. People are kind. That's intentional. So thank you so much for such a warm welcome here in this school district, wonderful school district. All right, just a few additional back-to-school dates that I want to announce and share. Tomorrow, Mid-Carolina and Newberry middle schools will have their scheduled pickup for students. Also, Mid-Carolina and Newberry High School will have their scheduled pickup for students. On next Tuesday, July 29th, Mid-Carolina Middle School will have their Rising 6th grade orientation. August 4th, all elementary schools will have open house. Whitmire Community School will have open house as well, all grades, as well as Mid-Carolina Middle School. And then on Tuesday, August 5th, Newberry Middle School will have its open house. Then on August 6th, Wednesday, August 6th will be the first day for students, including pre-K, 5K, Group A, and our 5-year-old Montessori students. Thursday, August 7th will be the first day for 5K, Group B students. On Friday, August 8th, will be the first day for all pre-K and 5K students. First day for 4-year-old Montessori students. And then on August 13th, that will be the first day for our 3-year-old Montessori students. So those are some more important dates that I wanted to make sure that we announce for all of our parents and students to hear that are tuning in. Last but not least, just as a reminder, our School Board Association will be having our school law conference, and that will be on August 23rd and 24th. And I think all of you signed up. I'll be there as well, so we're going to have a good time listening and learning about the new legalities and latest updates as it relates to the law in our schools. So thank you very much, and this concludes my
If there's no further business, this meeting is adjourned.